Alright, this may be controversial, but I don't care. I am the Dependent Fanatic here for all of you, and we are on the National Title Contender Series here, and it is BYU's turn, and I struggled who the first team from the Big 12 that I would do, because I think there are two, and it is going to be BYU. But I'll just tell you right now, Arizona State is coming up. They are a possible national title. They are a national title contender. They could possibly win it all. That's the point of the series. What team could win it all this season? I take into factor their team, their roster, their coaching staff, their schedule. And so if someone wins that isn't on this list after this season, I will feel pretty bad about myself. But I digress. Hello, as I said, Dependent Fanatic here, and BYU went 10-2 last season in the regular season, 11-2 after beating Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. BYU was left out of last year's playoff because of two consecutive late season losses to Kansas and then at Arizona State, the other team that I think could be a contender. Depth concerns me, but BYU did beat the likes of SMU, an eventual playoff team, Kansas State, who was number 13 at the time, and they won 38-9. BYU beat Baylor and Waco 34-28. It wasn't a disappointing season for the Cougars. The fact that BYU is on this contenders list really is an indictment on the Big 12. Apart from BYU having a good team, I think there is a toss-up between multiple teams from the Big 12. Arizona State, Iowa State, and BYU. The winner is going to be a national title contender because they're going to go to the playoff, right? So I am going with BYU as of right now to represent, and it's the dark horse of all of my teams, I believe. It's the darkest pick, I think. I'm not sure if they're going to make it because of Jake Retzlaff. Now, he may or may not be the quarterback after some of these allegations, the rape allegations, and that was a huge impact on me waiting this long to pick BYU, because if he isn't the starter, then BYU probably isn't a contender. But he says it was consensual, and that is per an article from KSL News just earlier today, a couple hours ago. So it still has to be hashed out, but Retzlaff went 58% passing last season, which isn't that great, but it was on 368 passes for the season. He had 2,947 yards. That's an 8-yard average per completion. He had 20 touchdowns, and he only had 12 interceptions. But his ability to be a playmaker is there because he had 100 carries for 417 yards, and that's a 4.2 average, and he has 6 rushing touchdowns. So I always say quarterback isn't everything, and your team doesn't make the national contender list if you don't have a capable team. And BYU will be plenty experienced this upcoming season. So let's look at the offense, and then the defense, and then their schedule. The offensive line is going to be good. Left tackle Isaiah Jada is going to be a senior, 6'6", 315 pounds. He started a game last year, so he's in his natural progression. He's got the height, the weight, the experience. I love all that. Left guard Waylon Lapuo is going to be a senior, 6'4", 310 pounds. He was a co-captain last year. and has had 25 starts at BYU and had 13 starts at Utah State before he got to BYU. At center, Bruce Mitchell is going to be a redshirt junior, so basically a senior there. Seniors across the board for this offensive line. 6'4", 305 pounds. He was an all Big Ten first team in 2023. The year before last year, can he rebound and get back to where he was? Right guard, Kyle I'm going to butcher this last name. Sforchik is a senior, 6'4", 310 pounds. He came from Southern Utah. He played 25 games at Southern Utah, 3 as a starter last season. All right, right tackle, Austin Lusa is a senior as well, 6'5", 315 pounds. So they're all 6'4" and above, 310 and above. He's coming in from Southern Utah as well. So at the right side of their line, these two guys are going to be familiar with each other. And that is the key for offensive lines. All right, at tight end, you have a senior, a transfer from Utah, who is 6'4", 250 pounds. This is concerning, but he had, that he's your most prolific tight end as far as stats and experience goes. But he had 10 catches for 113 yards and a touchdown at Utah last season. All right, you got 3 pretty good wide receivers. One really good one coming back. Chase Roberts is going to be a redshirt senior, 6'4", 214 pounds. He had 52 catches last year for 854 yards. That's a 16.4 yard average, and he had 4 receiving touchdowns. And then JoJo Phillips, a sophomore, is back. As a freshman, he had 10 catches for 211 yards. That's a 21-yard average and 2 touchdowns. And the thing is, he is 6'5" and 205 pounds. He did all that as a freshman. Wide receiver Parker Kingston is going to be a junior, and he had 13 catches for 196 yards. That's a 15.1 average, and he had a touchdown. 5'11", 185 pounds is Parker Kingston. At running back, I found one that has experience and talent and stats coming back. That's LJ Martin. He's great. He's a junior. 6'2", 225 pounds, so a bigger back. 137 carries for 718 yards last year. That's a 5.2 average and 7 rushing touchdowns. He also had 2 receiving touchdowns as well. So I lied. Also at running back, there is a guy that can be the Lightning to the Thunder, and it is Sion Moa, a sophomore, 5'10", 215 pounds. As a freshman, he had 29 carries for 144 yards. That's a 5-yard average and 3 touchdowns. He had 38 receiving yards as well. Okay. So the offense should be able to manufacture points in the second year of the new Big 12. But what puts BYU on this list is defense, in my opinion. And the defensive line is maybe a concern with 4 projected new starters. They have capable amounts of sacks. They have limited tackles, but they had to wait their turn behind the greats that were before them. Their heights and weights look promising. Here we go. Ahead of the back 7, we're going to start with linebackers. And the defensive line is not, there's no one to list. I'm sorry. No one to list there, but it's promising. So we're going to go with the back 7 here that I think is going to be really, really good. Now you have Isaiah Glasker at linebacker, 70 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 3 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, and a defensive touchdown. He is going to be a junior this upcoming season. He did all that as a sophomore. Jack Kelly is going to be a senior. He had 50 tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and an interception as a junior last year. Defensive backs, Evan Johnson is a junior. 16 tackles he had, 2 interceptions as a sophomore. And then cornerback, Maury Bamba only had 17 tackles as a senior, 4 pass breakups, or as a junior, but he's going to be a senior. Listen, these people had to wait behind other candidates, and it's not like anyone else that I've looked at in the Big 12 has better and more experience coming back or talent. I'm going to talk about Arizona State. I promise you that in a video coming up. But Tanner Wall is a free safety. He's going to be a senior. He had 53 tackles and 3 interceptions for the Cougars last season. And strong safety Raider Damoni, junior, had 26 tackles and 1 sack. So this is, of course, my dark horse pick for a national title contender. On the BYU offense, I expect them to be really good, but the defense is going to be just good enough in Big 12 competition to make it to the championship game. And if they win, they're a contender. If Arizona wins, they're a contender. The fun of it is, here's the schedule. They don't play each other in the regular season. So BYU had a 7.5 win total. I bet the over immediately. They went 11-2 last year. A lot coming back. I expect them to go 11-1. Here we go. Portland State at home is a win. Stanford at home, who went 3-9 last year, that is a win. You have at ECU, who went 8-5 out of conference, but BYU is gonna win that game. They're at Colorado, who went 9-4 last year, but Colorado lost a ton. BYU has a lot coming back. That's a win. West Virginia at home, who went 6-7. That is a win. They're at Arizona, who went 4-8 last year. Win. Utah at home. Win. Cam Rising's gone. I still believe in Whittingham, but Utah has kind of fallen off a little bit here in my view as far as Big 12 commodities. I was with Utah, but 5-7 last year. I think that's a win for BYU. All right, then they're at Iowa State, and I expect Iowa State, one of the other teams I listed here, to be very good in the Big 12. They went 11-3 last year. I think BYU goes to Iowa and loses that game to the Cyclones, or whatever they are. Anyway, they get their second bye, and then they're at Texas Tech. BYU is, and Texas Tech went 8-5 last year. They were a player late. They beat some good teams last year. They have some people coming back, but I have BYU winning that game on the road. And then it's TCU at home, and you win that game. You're at Cincinnati. You're going to win that. And then UCF, who went 4-8 last year, BYU wins that game. So they go 11-1, and they're going to be in the Big 12 championship. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But they are, just because of all this, they are a contender. The total makeup of BYU this season with their schedule, they're a contender. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where is Christopher Foote? Christopher Foote. Mark Rogers knows all about that. The voice of college football, Christopher Foote, has been on there talking about BYU and how they are the greatest since they won in 1984 or something. They could win it again this year. So that's funny. But let me know in the comments below what you think. And Arizona State is coming up in the next video. And then I have something that's going to be a little bit different than these contender series, because I think maybe some of you guys want that. It's going to be about coaches and national titles. And just stay tuned for that. So hit the bell for notifications, subscribe, like, and have a great day out there, everybody. Thank you.